Thank you, Joe. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Sanjay, and we are Team NUESS Husky Power from Northeastern University. We are here today to present our proposal on developing PV and battery system storage for Miami University. Our presentation today will cover our team's introduction, use case introduction, project goals, system design, distribution impacts, financing approach, development strategy, followed by a summary of the projects and its benefits. Coming to our team, we have a total of 21 members, including 6 student advisors and 1 faculty advisor. The team has been divided into 4 groups: design, distribution, finance, and development for the purpose of this project. The proposal we suggest here today is to implement PV and battery systems at Miami University's historic Oxford campus. Our use case boundary consists of 18 buildings, multiple open grounds, carports, and ponds. Right from the get-go of our project, our goals were very clear. We aim to maximize electricity offset while maintaining the financial viability of the project. We opted to go for rooftop systems, which helped minimize our cost. Equal importance was given to addressing infrastructure needs and promoting distributional energy equity. Lastly, our project also focuses on helping Miami University achieve its sustainability goals. Now, my teammate Mukul will explain details regarding the system design.
Thank you, Sajay. Good afternoon, everyone. So first we started out with designing PVs on multiple rooftops, ground mounts, and ponds, and try to iterate what was the productions like. And finally, we decided to go ahead with the 3 buildings that you can see on the right side: coal service equestrian stables and new equestrian stables. So these three rooftops comprise of 1.27 megawatt DC, and you can see a battery that is placed near the geothermal energy plant, and that's its size is 1.5 megawatt hours. So for the equipments, we went ahead with Q cells. That was for the solar panels. It's a 495 watt solar panel. It is monocrystalline and as a half cell, providing high efficiencies. And these solar panels are paired with SolarEdge KCDC inverters. We chose this because this has multiple AC capacities, helping us provide good DC-AC ratios. And for the batteries, we went ahead with a well-renowned ABB brand, and this provides good power discharge and is best fit for our university. And all this is controlled and managed with the help of SolarEdge commercial gateways. So for the rooftops, we designed them according to NFPA and NEC codes that you can see on the right. And for the rooftops with slopes, we designed flush mounted, so that it's aesthetically pleasing. And for flat rooftops, we went ahead with fixed tilts, and the tilt of which is 10 degrees. Here you can see the 3 buildings equestrian stables, which has a PV capacity of 233 kilowatt DC, and indoor equestrian center, which has a PV capacity of about 730 kilowatt DC, and coal service building about 310 kilowatt DC. And on the right, you can see the productions of these buildings, about coal service producing about 400 megawatts, and equestrian stables providing about 2.5 megawatt hours, and indoor equestrian center providing about 850 megawatt hours, totaling up to 1.5 gigawatt hours of annual production. So for the battery storage, we are proposing a single battery storage that can provide peak savings as well as resiliency needs. That's placed near geothermal energy plant, and it's almost near center to all the facilities, so that there's not a lot of transmission losses. And you can see the battery can provide peak savings up to 180 kilowatts for 3 hours, and a geothermal energy plant resiliency of on an average about 310 kilowatts for two hours. And this can provide 97 times resiliency for 97% of times in a year, while also reducing demands. So this is a system design summary. You can see on the right top the annual consumption of all the different facilities, and which is about 10 gigawatt hours. And on the bottom right, you can see the productions and the consumptions. The production being about 1.5 gigawatt hours can offset about 16% of the energy from the grid, and the 1.5 megawatt hour BESS provides demand reduction for 3 hours and provide resiliency to the geothermal plant for 2 hours. Now my teammate Jaydeep is going to explain more about the distribution. Thank you.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. So I'll be discussing the distribution system impact analysis that we had covered as part of our project. So here the system that we have considered is on your screen, 3 PV solar rooftop installations and 1 battery energy storage system. And the PV system capacity is mentioned on your screen. And as per the requirement, we were not allowed to send any electricity back to the grid. So we had to utilize all of the generation within the university-owned grid. So here we have the heat map analysis that was carried out as part of this. So we can see the various points of interconnections provided in the heat map on the right. And based on the details that were provided to us, we could see that the substation had a PV hosting capacity of about 10 MVA. So the hosting capacity would be able to determine how much PV system size the grid can handle. And over here, we can see that our system size is well within the limits. So based off of the heat maps, we identified nodes to connect the PV system as well as the battery system. So here we made the assumption while selecting nodes that the existing panel already has connection points. So we would be connecting our systems, PV systems directly to the building panels. This would reduce the requirement for additional interconnection costs as well as additional transformers, as based on the heat map, we were able to verify that there is already transformers existing with 480 volts to 12.47 kilovolt transmission values. So you can see here that the locations were based off of the heat maps, and in the tables we've mentioned out exactly which nodes we would be connecting each system to. And the geothermal plant node has been selected for the battery energy system storage because that was the position that was requiring resilience in terms of blackouts. So here there are some factors that we've considered as part of the distribution system impacts. And here there are voltage constraints, thermal constraints, as well as power constraints. And also a few mitigation factors that we've considered, which is like in terms of fault protection. And we've also incorporated the solar edge controller to avoid power backflow. And we've reduced our interconnection costs by keeping all the systems with the nodes that are already existing, and also the battery system right next to the geothermal plant where it's required. And we've also included the signal diagram as well over here for your reference. Thank you, and over to Diego to discuss the finances.
You're on mute, Diego.
Just a minute, we are just switching the.
What about now?
Yeah, we have a.
Okay, I am audible now. Sorry, I took control and cannot make it to open the mic. So thank you, JD. I'm going to start with the finance overview of our project. Okay, so the systems that my teammate described, we have an overall project price of slightly above $2.2 million with an aggregate unit cost of $1.49 per watt DC. This does not include storage. So we think that is a competitive but reasonable price. For OPEX, we have considered a PV operation cost of $15 per kilowatt DC and the battery operation maintenance cost of $5 per kilowatt hour. And on the incentive side, this is a main driver of the project. So this project is eligible for federal IDC in a 30%, mostly on 100% of its property, and also eligible to apply for 5 years depreciation schedule. On the state level, this project is exempted on sales tax on electricity. It's also eligible to participate on the Ohio's rec market. It's quite saturated right now. It's a very secondary source of revenue. So what's the bottom line for Miami U? So there in the screen, you can see the current duke rates and the PPA agreement that we propose. So it is a 25 years, 2.8% escalator with an 8.56 cents per kilowatt hour. There on the right, it is seen the cash flow for Miami U, the demand charge savings in orange, energy charge savings in gray, and PPA parts that are the counterpart on blue. We can see that this project is mainly driven by demand charge savings. And all this, it's blended on the below graph dates the Miami U final bottom line to their cash flow. You can see that it's quite balanced. First year, it's some money out of their pocket, starting with 20,000 bucks, and reaching almost zero in year 11, and then starts to create savings up to year 25, where it is $50,000. To the investor side, this project has a lot of after-tax benefits on the first years, mainly driven by the IDC and the depreciation makers. So we think that it's needed a tax equity investor, and we model the financial model for the investor under a partnership flip. There it's the cash flow is shown there on the bottom on the right. So it's a 11.2 IRR for the investor with an NPV of almost $21,000. So we can conclude that this project with the PPA rates established, it's financially strong enough to catch investment. And our main conclusions and the things that we want to stand out is the PPA gives Miami U predictable energy rates for 25 years. They get rid of operation and maintenance on the systems. They don't have to raise any financing for the project. And also the project has been owned by a third party. Its taxpayer is also able to depreciate. And because of the very low current energy rates and the high demand rates, we think and recommend that there are maybe more opportunities for battery energy storage systems on other parts of the campus. So now I'm going to give the word to my friend, Sir Ward.
Thank you, Diego. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Sarwar, and I'm here to present the development plan for Miami University use case, which includes 3 locations from the endowment parcel, namely indoor equestrian stables, and coal service building, and the area near the geothermal well for a battery storage system. All these locations are under University Development District and does not need any historic district permits. None of our projects affects the overall working of the university, and all these installations and alterations across the buildings of university, the AHJ responsible is the Miami University. We carried out several surveys and installation analysis that include land zoning and aviation and defense surveys for our PV system and land impact surveys for our battery storage system. Our proposal also includes impact and future scope of the project that aligns with the university's idea of sustainability and potentially reaching the Miami University's goal of turning into carbon neutrality. Our project potential of creating high paying job opportunities to the project timeline and the community engagement. On the right, we have the permit matrix for our rooftop PV systems, which includes building zoning and electrical permits. We also have the risk matrix that include the risks we identified and created an action plan to mitigate them. The proposed timeline of the project is around 1.5 years, which is distributed under several sections like site selection, permitting and approval, financing agreements, and constructions. And finally, completing the project termination and handing over the project for operations.
So to summarize the project, we aim to build 3 rooftops with a PV capacity of 1.27 megawatt and a battery system with a capacity of 1.5 megawatt hours. All our systems will be connected to the building panels, and we made sure that there would be no energy exported back to the grid. We estimate the project will take about 1.5 years to complete and ensure all our systems follow the necessary codes and regulation. Coming to the finances, we estimate an initial investment of 2.27 million. We propose that the university pay a PPA price of 8.5 cents per kilowatt hour. We also believe our financials are strong enough to attract investments. Coming to the benefits, we are able to offset around 16% of energy consumed by the university through our PV systems alone. Our battery systems have been able to achieve demand reduction and provide resiliency to the university. Lastly, to help Miami U achieve its sustainability goals, this project would prevent around 730 metric tons of CO2 from entering into the environment in year 1 alone. Thank you, and we are now open for Q&A.